We'll give it a little moment. Okay. Peace, everybody. Peace, 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 peace.
Hey
Well, we got a
guys.
live one tonight, y'all. We got a live one tonight. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you. Y'all know, y'all seen, if y'all have come to the Poker Rabbit podcast, you know, some of these guests be off the chain. I'm going to tell you, tonight is no exception. Because we're going to get it. You can even see the title already, Music, Magic, and Metaphysics. And you say to yourself, what, and how does that match? You know what I'm saying? Where are we going with this? If
Man.
y'all hear me scream real quick, I'm sorry. My cat's sitting in my lap, and sometimes she likes to swipe at me. I have no reason why she does that, but if y'all hear me go damn, that's because of that reason. So just so you know, so IG people, y'all can see. I gotta see that individual right there. Yep. hmm
Yeah.
Just so y'all know. but but yes, indeed, Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. Another. I'm glad to be alive in this beautiful time to be alive in this universe and this planet. People try to do all this scaremongering, fear mongering, and how we're going these crazy days and accept and all this. But
All
nah,
day. Yeah.
yeah, this is the best time to be here. This is what we contracted. This is a time we all contracted to come on this planet to see all this now. And we're gonna talk about some of that tonight and much more. Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. If you have not already, please follow, like, and subscribe and share. We're here to uplift humanity overall, and we are definitely here to especially educate and uplift the melanated people that have been put in a back burner for years. So, we have a dual cause for all humanity, and you know, time to y'all asses to wake up. So, um, we're gonna do that. If you haven't already, go to yourbrozo.com, check out my book, polka.rabbitpodcast.com. I mean, yeah, go to yourbrozo.com, pick up my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. I finally going to go ahead and start to talk about my new book because it will be coming out in the spring. Um, I've had to hold off from some numerous reasons this past year, but this year is definitely coming out. Um, let's see what else we got. Um, well, let's talk about this. As y'all know, Polka Dot, me, I've done music for years and been on, when I've been out of scene for a minute just because, dealing with family issues, all, just life in general. But music's coming back in full effect, and this man that you see below me here and next to me here is going to be big part of that. He actually is my partner in we have a production company,
Yes, sir.
and people that want to do music, all they got to do is reach out to us. We're going to be putting our information out soon. We make music live, artists, any type of music. That's what we do. Production, non-productions. You know what I'm saying? He's also the guitarist and bass player in the Melanite Children, another group that we're part. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of this cat right here. This my road dog. This is my my number two man. So, but besides that, that's enough of me. Mr. Jordan Cameron, please tell them who you are, what you got going on, and let the people know what's popping.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, just had to say, thanks for having me here. I love the podcast. I've been wanting to come on here for a while. And yeah, I love what you do, man. Absolutely. You know it. And yeah, my name is Jordan Cameron. I'm just a guy that collaborates with kind of whoever needs me in in music and a little bit of photography and and people and I love talking to people about such as yourself about metaphysics, of course, and things of that nature. I'm just here for it all, man. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Jordan's one of them cats. Well, actually, y'all might have seen Jordan's mom. She was on here when I first started on podcast a while back. Yeah, and Laura, what's her last name now?
Yep, yep.
What's she, huh?
Uh, yeah, Laura Lockhart is
Lockhart. Yeah, Laura Lockhart. Y'all might remember seeing her. She was on here and she was dropping some bombs. I can't wait to have another sit down session with her because
yeah,
man, that
she's
thing was
great.
heavy. Yeah,
Of
you
course,
know what I'm
thank you.
saying. So
Absolutely.
this is her offspring, her
Yeah,
son. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying. So
So,
the apple doesn't fall from the tree. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here's the thing.
hmm.
You have a very interesting story because you grew up in Iowa, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, please let's talk about that because you might I think you're the first black person I ever known that grew up in Iowa. So
That's
I thought I had something going in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear this.
yeah, it doesn't get more rural than that, man. It really. I mean, I mean, what is it to say? I mean, when something is such a big part of your upbringing, you know, you don't think much about it, but then once you finally get away, and once you finally get away and just and look at it from a from a different point of view, then you're like, okay, yeah, this is different, ain't it? So for me, my early childhood was, just I was raised, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather on his farm, riding around in tractors, combines, the whole nine yards. Most of my mom was actually adopted into a white family that
Hmm.
a family of farmers, and all and just the rural thing. That's their whole family. That's their whole life. So that was my early childhood.
Hmm.
Being My mom actually homeschooled me so I could spend more time with my grandparents. So
Hmm.
I didn't actually go to school for, until probably about, I guess, what we halfway into the first grade. That's when I
Hmm.
first started going to actual school.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that was up until then I was homeschooled. And like I said, I was just mainly be on the farm just with my grandparents, and yeah, so that was life, and I did that up until I was about 8 or 9.
Hmm.
No, excuse me. No, it was actually earlier than that. I did that till I was about, I guess, about 7, maybe 8.
Hmm.
And then we moved out to Ankeny, which is slightly bigger town. Going from a population of like anywhere between 2 to 500 to maybe a few thousand. So
Oh
that's
man,
yeah,
moving on up, huh?
yeah, right. Not really, but yeah, my life has been stair steps my whole life. It really has.
Hmm.
So go to Ankeny, hang out with that neighborhood and that was my first time when I really and there we were of course the only black family in that school
Hmm.
in Ankeny,
Yeah.
and I tell my dad this all the time, my stepdad. I just couldn't figure out why these kids were so mean. you
Oh
know,
yeah. I
yeah,
know the feeling.
we weren't really taught about racism or anything like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Talk about we're born, all of our relatives are, all my cousins that, are white and everything, so there's no like, hey, this is weird or anything, but
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
It's normal
exact
to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally normal. So
Hmm.
when the discrimination came, I didn't even recognize it as that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it was crazy too. So,
Yeah.
but then, things, you know, got a little better from there. We actually moved schools again. I moved a lot of schools, by the way. I can't
Hmm.
tell that whole story because there's way too many of them. But then, then we moved to Des Moines finally, and then that
Hmm.
was where things got a little more diverse. There
Yeah,
were a
yeah, yeah.
few other black families. It
Hmm.
wasn't that different,
Hmm.
but it was it was a yeah, yeah. I guess that's as you know. I got into school there, and of course, over the years, things progressively got, better and better, and high school is really where I found out what I really was supposed to kind of do. Yeah, that's when I really
Hmm.
found my, the people that it was hung out with on a daily basis. That's when things really
Hmm.
started getting good. So, you know,
So like, so when you say that, was it like, is that when you started to, is that when, well, in saying all that, when did music fit in this? And how did you get introduced to music and how did that fit into,
music,
this
y-
transition?
yeah, I mean, interesting. Music was, I don't know. My dad got me a guitar when I was 11.
Hmm.
Start there. He got me a acoustic guitar. And it really kind of that was just a thing at that time, just to help me come out of my shell. I was a very quiet kid. That was the beginning and the end of that. And and in high school, and you just find a bunch, all the rest of the kids that are into music, oh yeah,
Mhm.
there's a guy named Dan. He plays on the drum line. He has drumsticks in his pockets. Let's go talk to him. Hey, there's that guy with Liberty spikes in his hair. He sings. Let's grab him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, just like you do in high school, you just grab
Yeah.
every musician and just see what you can make out of it. So
So what it was like you got the guitar, you started playing, and you met other musicians?
that's it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
I started playing at 11, and just kept practicing and practicing till high school, which is about 14. And
Mhm.
didn't do much of anything up until then, just playing with a church here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
yeah.
so who were some of your influences, growing up musically?
Oh man, growing up, it was always classic rock, because or
Mhm.
or even the 80s pop music, I could
Oh
say, because
yeah.
that's what my mom was always
Oh
blaring in the
yeah.
car,
Mhm.
George Michael or what have you, a lot of that. And and so and then later on I got into, Guns N' Roses, things like that.
Mhm.
And later on in high school, actually got into metal,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, like it was I don't know, Dark Near, Cannibal Corpse. It was
Oh,
you know,
like death metal.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
the
The hard stuff, huh?
yeah, and honestly, I was in a death metal band from probably from 16 to, well, probably from 15 to 20 years old. I was in that band. So
Mm.
yeah, man, we were just we just tore up Des Moines, and did little shows out in I think Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, man.
Just going.
Did y'all play with 311?
Oh, what's that? Yeah,
Did y'all
exactly.
play with 311?
Yeah, no, no, didn't do that. But
You weren't that big time, huh?
no, honestly, man, we were just playing these house shows, these
Yeah, yeah.
completely disgusting, just hole in the ground places, and it was
Mhm.
great.
That's yeah, that sounds about right. Been there. Um, so, all right, so okay, so when did it when did the step from like what you got all these different influences. When did it get to the point you were like really serious about music, and what really influenced you to get serious about music?
Um, but influence, I don't, it was to me, it was just I didn't see any other thing that I wanted to do. I didn't even entertain the idea of really doing anything else.
Mhm.
I've always worked. I've been working since I was 13, doing various things,
Mhm.
anything from lawn work, retail, I, I've worked in warehouses for the last 10 years, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, I've also gone to music school,
Mhm.
The thing is, uh, what really made me think, I want to pursue music was, my mom would always say, just do what you love, everything else will come, everything
Mhm.
will kind of come into place. The thing is, I just didn't quit. That was my thing.
Mhm.
People, you get to a certain age and it's like, okay, well, what do you want to really do with this? Because you can go on, because you can go one direction, and like everybody else really, and just do what people tell you should do, or you can just keep on playing and just see where it goes. Especially after I got to Atlanta, I just
Mhm.
decided to, I was just really curious to see where music would take me. I guess you could say I didn't take music seriously, not going past a high school band until I got to Atlanta, and
Mhm.
I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old when we moved here.
Mhm.
I've always done it, but when I decided I wanted to actually do something with it, my, my mom would always say that, well, you know, well, let's go to Atlanta. There's plenty of, successful musicians, and plenty of successful black people out there.
Mhm.
Let's go and check that out.
Sure.
You get here. Well, there's music schools here. Like
Mhm.
Atlanta Institute of Music. I went. I got here, and I immediately I was like, okay, I want to, I want to go in that direction. I want to go to I want to
Mm-hmm.
go to school, actually learn a little bit of what I'm doing here, and see where that takes me. And man, since the minute I got here,
Mm-hmm.
it's just been, you know, I got really into I got really into the hired gun thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's I
That's a
and I
big
think
thing here in Atlanta.
it
Yep.
really is here, man. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's how I met you. Is
Mm-hmm.
actually, yeah, guys. Zozer was the one that got me my first festival gig. That was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right, man. And no, I would just kind of play with whoever needed me. I got here. I Okay. First, here's what happened. Let me actually get into a real story here. I got here, and my cousin lived here. He's lived here for last 20 years or so, maybe more. And my cousin Anthony, you know him,
Mm-hmm.
and he took me to Cat's Cafe.
Mm.
Uh,
Good spot.
yeah, it's a great spot, man. And he, paid to get me on stage, man. And I just, you know, I, it, yeah, I got the guitar taken away from me. It was bad. It was
You got
terrible.
the Sandman got you off, huh?
Oh man, it
Mr.
took
Sandman.
it took my soul, man. I didn't know what to do after that, man. And after that, I sulked for about 6 months, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I basically told myself, okay, well, I'm not good at the guitar or anything, so I'm just gonna go to work, and I was working for Corona Beer at the time,
Mm.
and I kept on passing this music store on my route,
Mhm.
and it was actually in one of the Walmarts that we delivered to, and there was a music store at the very front, and I would go in that music store every chance I got, and I couldn't bring myself to play the guitar, so I actually sat down on the piano and
Mhm.
taught myself, a little bit about the piano, not even really realizing it, it's
Mhm.
playing a little piano, and just and slowly kind of picking the guitar up again, man, and just, until finally I went to guitar lessons, and I'm just like, listen, I got to get myself out this funk, I can't
Mhm.
I can't leave music alone
Yeah.
completely. So let's really try, right? Let's give it a shot. And so I went to guitar lessons, he taught me a little bit of, taught me my scales, a little bit into theory, later on I went back to Cats a year later, and I guess it was a good night. I guess you could say I killed it that night.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But, and then from that point on, I just, I kept going.
That's
I
what's
was,
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man. A very like I said earlier, the apple doesn't fall from the tree with him on when it comes to our conversation in its depths of dealing with metaphysics. You know what I'm saying? And so, how did you get into? Was it something your mom introduced you as a young age? Was always kind of around? Like how did you get interested
Yeah,
in metaphysics?
in some way, shape, or form, it was always around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in our early days, well, I guess when we were kids, my mom would call herself a Christian back then.
Okay.
She would teach the Sunday school. We would
Mm-hmm.
be there, and we'd go to Bible camps, Bible studies, everything about that. But eventually, I noticed that she would kind of eventually she would kind of steer away from that a little bit. She kind of went off into the spiritual stuff at first. She didn't really take us with her into that journey just yet. She she did, and she kept sending us to Bible camps and things like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were still camp counselors at the church camps and things like,
Mm-hmm.
really that really interesting story. Just doing volunteer work, things like that. I did a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
growing for these camps and stuff
You were
like that.
knee deep in an indoctrination machine, right? At this
Yeah,
point.
exactly. Kind of, but me and my brothers, um, we didn't really, we enjoyed all those things, all those
Mhm.
programs. Never really liked church that way.
Mhm. Y'all weren't drinking the Jesus juice, right?
We we really weren't. I mean,
Mhm.
I was the guy that I wouldn't argue with them, but I would always question it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Saying sounding quite right here. I wonder about this. Wonder about that.
Mhm.
So our mother's the leader, she's just like, well, you know, she got deeper and deeper into spirituality. We all just kind of followed her. She never
Yeah,
really
yeah,
introduced
yeah.
it to us. We just started to get into it by ourselves. And
Mhm.
eventually kind of came up with our own conclusions.
Mhm.
And even to this day, now don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the Bible, and I have a
Mhm.
lot, and I'm a
Me
big
too.
fan of excuse me here. Sorry, I have a stack of books here that I wanted to recommend, but now I realize I can't move them. Sorry, but one of my favorite books is Conversations with God. Neil
Okay.
Donald Walsh. I have all three of those books, man,
Mhm.
and I really enjoy those things. But I guess I really started getting into law of attraction and
Mhm.
spirituality and of course, positive and negative vibes, everything like that. Probably when I
Mhm.
was in my early 20s, 23, 24, or something like that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay. And we a lot of people now since we're moving from third dimension to higher dimension,
Mhm.
and hear all in these talk about extraterrestrials and all these things about UFOs and ships. You know, you have a very interesting story that you can kind of talk about as well. Now, I've had some experiences, seeing some things,
Sure.
but your story take the cake as far as a lot of people I know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you this: hearing
Yeah.
your mom talk about it in concordance and conjunction with it,
Sure.
and like backing it up and being like, I'm just like, yo, some stuff that I kind of thought was somebody, you might think of somebody's imagination when they think stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But when you
Right.
got witnesses to see some stuff, now please, I want if you will go into that because this story right here, I'm still fascinated in this, and I believe you just because I've seen not the second part that you saw, but I've seen the first part. You know what I'm saying? I've seen ships straight up. I've seen them. I in all honesty, one follow my ass, me and my dog back in West Virginia. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's so hard to talk about because it's well, one, I was so young, and
Hmm.
I mean, second, you know, it's very distorted for me.
Hmm. I can
My
imagine.
mother will tell you the other side of the story.
Hmm.
She's afraid to go and look in my room because she doesn't know if she'll find me or not, or I'll
Hmm.
come to her the next day and say a bunch of things. But what I can tell you, and what I remember is, man, I'd always have these crazy dreams. Just being, just being in a different place. I guess you could. I didn't think much of it at the moment, but I was surrounded by all those people. A bunch of people were just kind of taken to this place. And I remember seeing, the the absolute weirdest creatures around us.
Hmm.
This very distorted looking, to my 7-year-old brain, it is very
Hmm.
humanoid,
Hmm.
creatures, if you believe in
Hmm.
such a thing. And
Any likens to any like of the extraterrestrial races they talk about that, like the Greys, the Aldebarans, like any likeness to any of those?
there were definitely, I mean, from what I can remember, it would be the Greys,
The Greys,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
one thing I do remember this, and it happened several times. The one thing that they do not like when they, take you, I can't believe it. When they take you is they don't like it when you come to. They
Oh, okay. When you start, yeah, out of a trance type deal, like,
yes, they don't
yeah.
like it when you realize what's going on, the minute
Mhm.
you do, they are all over you. You know,
Mhm.
one thing I will never forget is, and this is kind of how they, knock you out.
Mhm.
They would knock you in the back with this, this, this kind of stick that,
Mhm.
it
You
jabs you
show
in the.
that one to LAPD?
What's that?
I said, you
Yeah,
show one
right.
to
Exactly.
LAPD?
Exactly. Get hit with a nightstick. It might have been like that. No, it would hurt, and it would electrocute you at the same
Mm.
time. And then you would be knocked out,
Mm.
and then a time later you would, of course, wake up again. Wake up back. You
Where you
know,
started from.
started exactly,
Yeah. Uh,
and that happened to me so many times. I don't remember every instance, but I
mhm.
always remember getting knocked in the back with this the kind of a nightstick that electrocutes. That stuck with me my whole
What
life.
did you ever have like physical stuff that on you like marks and stuff?
Yes, I did.
Mhm.
I'd always have this, and my mom would tell you, yeah, I would always have this mark on my back
Mhm.
afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Oh,
Comes
every time it happened?
every time it happened. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm. So
That's
do you think that they were do you think I know and I hear that like these beings they'll like almost mark you like a cattle because they keep on coming back for you and stuff like that. Do you think that was that type of
it's
situation?
it's kind of like that
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
Some people have more experiences than I had.
Yeah.
And you talk to some people who are really into the ufology, they would say, well, they always come at a certain age. They'll come you at this age, that age, and that age. I think it's like something like 5, 9, and 12 or something like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it kind of, yeah, and I heard that. I'm just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
'Cause I remember it happening a lot,
Mhm.
but I do also remember it stopped. A big part of my life is a big part of my experience. The reason I get more and more into any kind of spirituality or UFOs or anything like that is because I'm really into astral projection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just, out of body experiences, near death experiences, or whatever
Mhm.
you. Um, Going out of body is something I've been doing since I was since I was a small kid. I still
Like
do.
the movie Insidious and that little boy.
Yes, the movie,
Yeah.
it's like the movie Insidious, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's never at that kind of negative level, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Not all the
Not
haunts
all
of.
haunting and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And let me clarify. I mean, we all do it.
Yeah. Yes,
We
sir.
all go out of body while we are sleeping every night. It's just you can. Some people remember it better than others.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
can
Yeah.
train
Have
yourself to
Let me
remember it.
ask you a question because I had a recent experience,
Mhm.
and I think I told you about it already. Because I'm sitting there sleeping in my bed, and man, I saw this man at the end of my bed. I call him the haunt man. That's what I call him. It was all black cloak, right? And he had I don't know, I guess it was a man, but he had a distorted face. And it was right between I was waking up and waking up and sleeping. And I
Sure.
was like, I know I was trapped in between. And like it just threw me off so bad. I mean, it scared me. I ain't gonna front. I jumped up like because I was about, I was about to. I couldn't. I was in the rooms. If he's gonna fight me, that was it. You know what I'm saying? We about to have
Yeah.
a hunt verse. Zosa my match. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
I woke up. I saw it. It started me so. I got up, and it was gone. And I talked to other people about other individuals about that, and some of the people that talk about how like different not when you're in when that realm that you can since you're in like you say astral projection you can see beings on different densities, you know what I'm saying, and different levels. Have you ever had any experience like that?
I've had many, many experiences like that.
Yeah, could you kind of talk about some of them?
Of course. Well, well, I guess I should start the kind of the beginning. I had ever since I was a kid, I'd have these
Hmm.
experiences. I didn't know what it was when I was a kid. I would
Yeah.
just kind of find myself, you know, let me let me clarify. When I was a kid, I was always getting in trouble. I was always, um,
Bad.
okay, Jordan, go to your room. That would be that was like 90% of my life as a kid, always getting into some shit. Well, what do you do when you're in your room? Well, we didn't have cell phones or smartphones or tablets, so you end up taking a nap.
Hmm.
It's that's even to this day. That's when it happens for me. It's always you're right in between sleep and awake.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
always what it was, and I would always find myself, coming to, at a different part of the house. And
Mm.
it's kind of like you say, different densities, different.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, it was it was my house, but it was just slightly off. You know,
Mm.
I knew it wasn't exactly sleeping because I couldn't exactly wake up. I knew where I was.
Sounds just like Insidious, doesn't it? Sounds
Yeah,
just like it.
exactly. I knew I
Yeah.
was stuck. You know, and so I guess the scary time, one that I really remember. Sometimes you kind of come to as you're returning to,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
kind of like what you were saying, and kind of like what your experience was. And my scary experience was as I was returning to my body, I heard this, like, this crazy, like, I guess you could say evil, like,
Hmm.
laugh right as I was, and
Hmm.
the return back into my body made me jolt and made me shake.
Hmm.
Like I was fighting to get back
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
back to 3D. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's a really crazy experience like that, you know, and and I didn't have any for a while. I didn't have any more experiences after that for
Hmm.
many years, and then I started again as I got in my probably my teens. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I've had a few crazy experiences. That's my early childhood.
Yeah.
Now, it's a whole lot different.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Now that I study it a little more, and I love the Robert Monroe books. Things
Hmm.
like, he goes
Hmm.
into depth in that.
Hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So,
So and it's interesting you say that about the returning aspect, because if anybody's ever done things like mushrooms, ayahuasca, and all this kind of stuff, and like in which you can readily traverse the planes, and the dimensions, and go in different places. It's like
mhm,
very interesting because once you're coming, that's when if people say like there's a life as a simulation, and we're like truly in a matrix, whatever the case may be,
mm,
like through my personal experiences, like that's when I started to see that can truly be reality of
mm.
being able to go to higher levels. And once you have to come back here, just like you're saying, it's like you're being pulled here to a place in which you were placed where you weren't supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And now you got to come to the place where you're rooted to be because of the program that you're in. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, absolutely. And
Hmm.
know, I don't, I mean, the Matrix is one thing, and everybody makes that, everybody makes that connection, and rightfully
Comparison,
so.
yeah.
But when if you live life like, you know that you're gonna review it once this life is over.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
believe we all have many lives.
Hmm.
So how would you live your life?
Yeah,
How do you
exactly.
want to see yourself when it's all done? Do I see this? I don't see this place as a school as many
Hmm.
others. I see it as, can we remember, because if this, let me put it this way: if the soul knows everything that needs to be known,
Hmm.
but doesn't have a way to experience it,
Express it, yeah.
express it exactly, then
Hmm.
if we're, then when we come here to remember who and
Hmm.
what we truly are while in a lifetime,
I
isn't
think
that?
that's a very good point. I think that's a very good point, and I also think that because like the cycle of times and the day and times we are in which it's like nature would almost like give amnesia not only to give amnesia to humanity because of a certain because like a rebuilding block, just like you're saying, because you look at all this technology that we had as humans in the past. You know what I'm saying? As the original man, I should say, original man and women, because I'm going back, years when there wasn't really nobody else on this planet except only black folks. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call them, Nubians, whatever you want to call them. But
Yeah.
looking at all the stuff that in the evidence of what the greatness was back then, and it's like you look at now, you be like, there's no nowhere, there's no correlation with those black folks and these people today acting crazy on TV, you know. But besides,
Hmm.
there was amnesia,
Right. Right.
you know, that just like you said, we forgot who we were, and what we are, and what we're supposed to be. And
Right.
also, going back to what you said earlier about the indoctrination, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So how are you going to get to where you want to go when you're getting force fed a whole bunch of stuff that's completely against your soul remembering, you know?
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and but that's the thing we have to get through. I mean,
Mhm.
we can be so, kind of sucked into the everyday here, you know,
Mhm.
and completely disregard all the things that actually matter. You
Yeah,
know,
I
it's
agree.
easy to do. All you have to do is turn the TV
Turn the
on.
TV on. Exactly.
All you have to do
Distraction.
is, yeah, all you have to do is listen to your coworkers. That's a big thing, you know. God, it was so hard, to not get, you know, sucked into the bullshit.
The
You know,
Matrix, man. Yeah, 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 yeah.
but you just gotta remember, you know what, there is a much higher purpose
Yeah.
in for everybody.
Yeah. Well, no, it was interesting because we had a band rehearsal a couple days ago, and it was me, Jordan, and Iman. We was just talking about like our other guitar player slash bass player,
Mm.
and we were just talking about life and how what we've been taught to believe is really what the world, what it is about living, is so fake. You know what I mean? Like every aspect of that we've been told that you gotta get a job, you gotta go to college. What else? You gotta get a house with a white picket fence. All these kind of things. You got to get all these things,
Yeah.
and you're bred to become a worker for these other individuals that got all this information, and all they do is the exact opposite. They want to
Hmm.
be entrepreneurs. They
Yeah.
learn metaphysics. They're not religious folks. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us been groomed to go in the exact opposite direction in which nature wanted you to go. Like you said, your
That's it.
soul.
Right.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
go ahead.
I was just agreeing with you,
Mm-hmm.
but you're absolutely right. I mean, we're born into, I hate to say, a system that
Mm-hmm.
wants you to go one way, but you kind of everyone kind of knows deep down that, this isn't what we're really supposed to do.
Exactly.
We're supposed to be, well, we're not meant to be this negative. We're not meant to be so tied down. We're not meant to, if everybody is like, you're on TikTok or Instagram, and everybody says, "Oh, I got this mental thing going on. Oh, I got
Mm-hmm.
this depression thing going on. I got the."
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to really start looking, for ourselves into into something a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah, yeah,
Take a look at your
yeah.
life and just and really decide what it is you want to focus on. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs to have a job and things like that. I
Mm-hmm.
got, I got a job. I work a warehouse, and I teach guitar lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And on the weekends I play music. And everybody needs to take time out and really look into their own mentality and really find out what they want to put a lot more emphasis in, a lot more of their life, towards, I don't
Mm-hmm.
quite know how to say it, it's just like, take some time for yourself. Don't, everybody spends every day clocking in and helping somebody else get rich,
Mm-hmm.
helping somebody else dream come true,
Mm-hmm.
you got to do
Mm-hmm.
something for yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Everybody came here with a talent. Everybody came
Mm-hmm.
here with a drive. Everybody
Mhm.
came here for a reason, you know.
Mhm.
Start looking for that, you know, even a little
So
bit.
yeah, so let me say, like in all that, what are your actual thoughts on spirituality? That's yeah.
Mm. Like my thoughts on spirituality. How do you mean? Like how would what do
Like like
you use?
how okay, so what how does important how does spirituality play in your life? What's the importance of it?
Importance of spirituality is freedom. All right. Everybody, spirituality is me is, there's what you're taught growing up.
Mhm.
All right. But at some point in your life, people say, okay, I'm done with high school. I'm done living with my parents. It's time to stop learning. you know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
spirituality to me is having a kind of a connection with source that's all your own.
Mm.
And that's taken me many years to kind of build, and I'm still building it, you know what I'm saying? And I want more of that. And for me personally, it's I keep reading. I'm getting really into reading over the past couple years, and basically I'm always looking for somebody that knows more than me.
Yeah,
What I'm saying
yeah, exactly.
about this. You look at several podcasts and several books. My favorite author is one of my favorite authors is Robert Monroe.
Mhm.
Neil Donald Walsh. One of my favorite
Mhm.
books is, of course, I've read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. You've probably
Mhm.
heard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
from
Mhm.
one of my favorite books.
Oh yeah,
Spirituality.
that's a good one.
Exactly, man. Spirituality to me is in going in the direction to remember why it was you came here for you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Okay.
everybody has. Everybody says, "Oh, I know I have a purpose." What's my purpose? My purpose is a lot of things. Everybody's
Mhm.
purpose is a lot of things. I'm here to
Yeah.
be a husband. I'm here to be a brother. Here to
Mhm.
be a musician. I'm here to learn. I'm here to teach. I'm here to do many things. I've made, I make a lot of mistakes. I,
Mhm.
one thing, another thing I had to do is learn how to not be afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a big one for me, man. I mean, it's so many different things, man. And you know what?
You you hit the nail on the head. Even for something me personally, that like I remember when I was younger, I was
Mhm,
reading all this information, like some of the greater master teachers that are they're not around and even around today, male and female. I just took my early 20s and just read a ton of books, and and I'm gonna keep it real, man, with all y'all. Like I do my best. I actually got to a certain point. I'm kind of like, yo, I think I know a little something. You know, honestly, I honestly did. But then, you get
mm,
hit to reality that even all the stuff you might have learned growing through the stages just setting you up for what you really got to learn now.
right.
And that's like what's happening with me personally. It's like, yo, because I'm just in my numerology and everything. I'm a 16, so I'm 7. So it's like I'm a information junkie. You know what I mean? I just got to learn all the time. You know what I'm saying? And now now, like you're saying, it's like now I'm starting to realize how important it is to do something as simple as reading, like I used to love so much in the day. You got to
Mm,
do it now too, because it's even more important now. You know?
absolutely, absolutely, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't do. What I'm saying,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of people look at you weird sometimes for it, man. But you know what? That's the beautiful thing about here and now is that we are constantly, you know, we're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. You
Hmm.
know, we're constantly gaining wisdom. It never
Hmm.
stops. And you shouldn't ever want to stop. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, and it's really important, especially now. I mean, look at where the world is today. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just grab your job and work at it for 40 years and retire with a pension and
Not no
401k.
more.
It just doesn't work like that anymore.
Uh-uh.
It's not going to work like that the older we get. you
Mhm.
know. And I can't, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you got to stay relevant, because you're going to get left behind. But I'm going to say, never stop working on you in whatever way you deem necessary. You know what I'm saying? And and never quit learning new skills, and never stop reading. Never quit looking for those who know more than you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. 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 You can never. Yeah. And like I said, I literally, I got to that point now, and I just, another thing is, it's like we're this world is so ass backwards that the things that we um really need to focus on, we have to find that information ourselves. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like,
exactly.
and there's always resources out there.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't care what it is. I don't care if it's mentors. I don't care if it's your mom, this dad or whatever, brothers. There's always people out there, like you said, that know more than you, that could point you in the right direction. You just gotta, like I was sitting one of my most recent teachers, and I was sitting in the driveway, and I knew this person for some years, but I never, I never really was at the point in which I was ready to, you know, learn from them,
mm,
and
sure.
once the smoke cleared and I was sitting there just talking to this individual, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that now is the time for me to start learning, it's like they say, once the student is ready, the master appears, you know what I mean? Or
That's
the
right.
teacher appears, whatever the case may be,
That's right.
and, you know, it's just so, it's a beautiful thing just because we, as long as you're really, really willing and open to learn, you know, the sky, and I know this might sound too cliche, but the sky is the limit, even in this avatar we have as a body, because there's so much great things we can do in
Mhm.
this avatar. We've just been again stirred in the wrong direction.
That's right. That's right.
You know.
It's like all the power has been directed away from us, even in
Yeah.
our, you know,
Hmm.
seemingly, and I might, make a lot of people mad saying this, but even in our own Bible, things have been, there were a lot of truths
Hmm.
in that, but there's a lot of truth that's been just completely has been kept from that.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
we are
Exactly.
much, we are way, even in this body, this 3D body, we are way more powerful than what we give ourselves
Yeah.
credit.
Yeah. And it was so funny, man, because this is a whole different. We can have a whole different conversation, especially me and you, because we experience a lot of stuff. Like you're talking about, we were talking about, you know, hold on a second. Okay, one second. We were talking about like growing up dealing with people, humanity, race, and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, people don't understand how new the concept of racism really is. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, and not only that, how if you, I saw this one thing on this, it made me laugh so much, but the dude was so right. It was a redneck dude, right? He was like, listen, man, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all got it all twisted. You know what I'm saying? You got all these people, these rednecks out in the country, and these brothers in the hood. He was like, they keeping us fighting each other because if we ever came up together, you know what I'm saying? Then we'd be more powerful than you can imagine. And it's like, and 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 it's and here's my thing. Going back to what I was saying,
mm,
that the forces of the universe. You know what I mean? Uplifting people to a higher level. You know what I mean? as as individuals, their mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's like inevitable for us as a whole humanity to raise, and also not only that, the people that were at the highest of the peaks in this avatars
mm,
that could really tap into that, and were made to tap into that on higher levels to really be able to truly embrace that and go on to the next level. Because a lot of people talk about junk DNA and all that stuff, and how we're like cut off, but you
sure.
know, like just imagine if we only use a certain percentage of our brain. Imagine if that junk DNA is turned on, we use our full brain. You know what I'm saying? And we're not. This isn't a. We're talking science.
Yeah, that's right.
I ain't
Um,
make nothing up just right now.
you,
This is science.
you know how we're coming into the new dimension, everything you keep
Hmm.
talking about? I mean,
Hmm.
don't you think this is to mention that junk DNA is being activated?
Exactly. Hmm.
As you keep saying, people are waking up.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are some people who can do these. We're not going to get into it now, but there's some people who do some amazing things. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And and yeah, man,
And see, I look at it. See, since I've traveled the world, I've seen all different types of people. All different avatars, different personalities. So my perspective of humanity is a lot different than somebody. Not saying it's better than anybody. It's just different. Than
Mhm.
other people that just might not have been around, sitting in different places. So, you know, like when you have people, you know, going to filling up. I had a friend in Australia. They were in came to Miami because they came to see what's his name, Tony Robbins. It was like a
Yep.
3-day event, right? Something like 2 or 3-day event. So these people came all over the world, ran around the world, right?
Yep.
Spent buku money, right, to learn how to be better people.
Hmm.
And I've read enough to Tony Robbins. I know he ain't telling about people, cutting people's heads off and acting crazy. He's a positive cat. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you've got, and I think that's being underplayed by overall. I
Mhm.
honestly do. I think it's being underplayed about the true leaps that people are taking to become better people
Absolutely.
all over. People do it every day. They go to church, synagogue, whatever the case may be. But unless you're in New York, well, that's a different story. But if people go, people are trying to get better. Now, a lot of people are going away from the church because the truth is coming out in a lot of things. But still, I think a lot more people are trying to really elevate than is being shown. That's my personal opinion.
I completely agree. I completely
Hmm.
agree. And I go back to, and I go back to, how I say, turn on the TV or go to listen to your coworkers. Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, you know, y- people are starting to have some pretty meaningful conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
People are starting to, kind of wonder.
Hmm.
Well, it's not all about just the football game next Saturday.
Exactly.
Let's,
Exactly. Exactly.
let's, and people are starting to realize this isn't all that I want. This isn't
Yeah.
the end of
Yeah.
what I want. I want
Hmm.
to I really want to know what I'm capable of. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really glad to see that.
On a ground level, I think that people are starting to really seeing how phony like politics are. You know what I mean? Like people are really starting to see through that, and I think that's just like that's like the aha moment. Once you see that you took somebody, what trips me out, man. I think about this all the time. It's like if you really think about your days of going through school, the pep rallies, the
Mm,
presidential, who's the vice president, all this stuff. It's
yeah.
like they groom you to think a certain way,
Mm.
and as an adult, you're still thinking like the same way they groomed you to before. There's no difference between you have the class president, all this stuff. There's no different. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
mean,
all these different things, it's the same thing. They just white guide you right into your quote unquote adulthood programming from the jump. You know,
it's
and
yeah, it's all about the program. It's all about the upbringing. But
yeah.
you got to. I mean, people have to walk away from that. Walk away from that themselves.
Hmm.
People have to continue on their own education by
Yeah.
themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about
Hmm.
the real education.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
let's okay. We're done with school. Great, we got the basics down. But let's learn something that really you know gets everything going. Get your
Hmm.
mind thinking, positivity,
Hmm.
and get your mind thinking. Let's do what 90% of the world doesn't do and focus on me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's kind of like going on what I was saying earlier. It's like I've been at some different places and looking at the way that certain other people live outside of this country when it comes to just like you said, you know what I mean, focusing on them, not all, oh, I don't need to get the pair of new pair of Jordans, or I don't need a new iPhone, all these different things.
Yeah.
Some people like we were saying earlier when we were talking in the car, it's like
Mm.
people that are completely out of the system. You know what I mean? Nothing affects them that the world throws at them because they've made a conscious decision not to be a part of it.
Mm.
You know?
And isn't that beautiful, man? I mean,
Yeah.
when you can live in a place where outside influence don't catch you, don't influence you. And I mean,
Hmm.
that's kind of where that's a place I really try to be. I can't always be there,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know
yeah, 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 yeah.
what I'm saying? I
You
mean,
got to jump in. You got to put your hats on, like different hats.
yeah, you just gotta, be in your, find peace, with yourself,
You
and
know,
find like-minded people.
well, one thing I think that is very, and when I say this, I even start from saying, as a person, a melanated person, learning about your culture, learning self-love for who you are,
Absolutely.
like your story, where you come from, loving self and kind first, etc. And for us, a lot of us, melanated folk, it's kind of easier to do that. It's kind of just our nature, besides the zombie devil dwellers that go around, acting crazy. But
Yeah.
but I read in a book, the Holy Tablets. I was reading it. They were saying that the Earth is crystallized with a negative, like an aura around it because of the negative mindset.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to Dr. York. Thank you. A negative aura around the planet. You know what I'm saying? That because of the mindset and mentality of the people are projecting that, and it's like crystallized, and it's like around there. And I'm saying all this to say, and this is one thing I also agree that I've experienced myself, Jordan. Is as like people always talk about love, right? And they
Yeah.
try to make it like a cliche, and they try to downplay it. But that love is one of the strongest energies, emotions, whatever you want to call it, that there can be. Because, could you imagine instead of all this treachery and debauchery we see in this world, if it was reversed and people just love each other, man? You know what I mean?
It is sadly so, in a way, it's sadly so hard to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
In another way, it'd be, you can, and it's so, and you're right, it's so beautiful to think about. There are two, I believe there are two main emotions, love and fear. You know,
Yeah.
you know, and every other emotion is just a product of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, and you're right, this crystal that's is formed around the earth, of negativity. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is made from us. It's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
if people are waking up, starting to kind of realize, or gonna realize that, always choose love and
Yeah.
whatever, and what the influence that brings, and that's what's gonna, break the horrible cycle, the horrible
Yeah.
negative energy
Exactly.
that's around each and every one of us, in the world in general. It's They've been talking about this for years, man,
Yep.
and like we said, people are waking up. We just have to see
Yeah.
how far we're going to get, And man, it would be such a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that is the new earth. I think that is. I think it's inevitable. I think that you know because if you look at the debauchery and the negativity and the wretchedness of the world today, it's all man-made from a certain perspective. They might be getting marching orders from other disagreeable beings. That's what it seems like that's what the case is throughout.
Yeah,
Throughout what that's pretty much they just plan out what they've been told by other nasty beings that hate on humans because they can't be human.
yeah,
Um, but you know, ultimately, like we were talking about in the car, that sun pumping out those neutrinos, and putting out that type of energy in us to start to wake up, to connect to the, our etheric bodies and etc. to elevate us and wake us up. All of that is inevitable of a reawakening and an elevation that no negative extraterrestrial being or no negative human being can come close to, stopping.
sure,
You know,
absolutely.
you can try to lock people down. You can try to shoot them up. What
Hmm.
you can try to all this kind of crazy stuff for what? You think you can honestly stop nature?
Man, eventually something's going to give, man. I mean, it
Yeah,
always does.
exactly.
I mean, you take a look at history. Nobody takes crap, laying down forever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Man,
Yeah. Mhm,
it, it's a scary thing. I mean, all the technologies that you can get into, all the technology that's been suppressed,
mhm,
all
mhm,
the inventions that would better our lives that have been taken away, or not allowed to come to light. I mean, we're not we're not going to put up with this for much longer, man. And,
mhm,
and we're
mhm.
like, we in the end, the best of I think the best of us will absolutely prevail, man.
Nature prevails always, and
Prevails,
as
man.
long as you're connected with nature, you know what I'm saying. I think you're pretty much good. I think you can get a heads up on things. I think so many different things.
Hmm.
I know you got an early in the morning tomorrow, so I ain't gonna, don't worry. Don't worry. Y'all gonna see a lot more conversations because our
Yeah,
like I said, we're gonna have our production team it's gonna be up and running, and y'all gonna see a lot more of of us in these type of conversations. But also on the music tip too, because like a
absolutely.
lot of things popping down. Yeah, yeah. Y'all about to see it's going down.
Yeah, there's
I'm
so many
officially.
different branches we could have went down, man. It just
Yeah.
we ended up, but yeah, man. We had a good time talking tonight. Sorry if I didn't get specific enough into any one
No,
thing.
you good. You good. Hey
Yeah,
man, like I said, we'll get it. Believe me, we'll get it on later on conversations. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep on rocking, man. But yeah, man, I just had to introduce the folks. You know what I'm saying to my partner in soon to be crime, man. And you know what I'm saying. And we got a lot of things coming for y'all. Y'all don't even know. You know what I'm saying. But you'll start to see it slowly but surely.
yes, sir.
But besides that, you got anything else for the people? Where can they find you? I put everything in the description on your social media. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, just Instagram, Jordan.Cameron.180. And if TikTok at Jordan.Cameron 29, same as that. And you can also find me on YouTube and soon to be our music, Emil9, um, and you'll find a bunch of other things there with our production company as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, so you can find me there.
All right. Well, that's it for us. You know what I'm saying? We out of here, and I'll be starting to get more consistent with the podcast and more different. You're gonna see lot more different things going on. I actually start next week, so as always, please follow, like, and share. Share this good conversation. Get people that are like-minded and can talk about this stuff to hear this conversation. You know what I mean? And because this is just the beginning. But besides that, like I said, my man Jordan got a early morning, so we're gonna get out of here. Besides that, everybody, peace and love. Stay tuned for more great content coming forward.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
All right, peace.